Or Congressman Spencer Bachus, he's ranking member of the Financial Services Committee. Good morning. It's great to see you, sir.
Good morning, Joe.
We can't. This would be like I don't know. We need methadone or something. How do we get off of this? What do we do?
Well, the ship that Congressman Ken Jaworski talks about now controls 90% of the home mortgage market. Right. And it's a government ship, and it's inefficient, and the only way it operates is by massive federal credit privileges. And so we need to phase it out over time. You know, America is about competition and innovation, and the federal model simply is not the efficient model.
Yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought for a second. Competition and innovation, I was saying, and then, of course, then it was Sunday night. But no. That's neither here nor there. I can't help myself sometimes. So how do you do it? What do you propose?
Well, we phase out their government privileges, their federal credit privileges. Right now, they have a line of credit with the Treasury. They can borrow from the Fed. And it's really, it's not as if it's their money. It's almost as if they have an unlimited line of credit. So they engage in activities that a private company would put them out of business or put them at risk. And we have to introduce competition. 1965, they had 6% of the market. In 1995, they'd gone to close to 50%. And in 2005, when Republicans tried to start down the road of introducing competition and weaning them of the federal guarantees, they had 60% of the market. Today they've got 90%. And people all of a sudden are saying, well, you know, you can't privatize them. You just have to make them a wing of the government, or you have to let them function as a government agency. And they've neither been fish nor fowl. And that's a mistake. But, you know, they price fix to a certain extent, too. And it's just, it is not the American model. It's not how we became the biggest economy in the world. And really, if you, study after study has shown that most of their benefit comes from, they pay no local or state taxes. They're exempt from that. So how can private business compete with them?
Well, I'm trying to figure out why is it not in the Democrats' version of the bill. I tried to connect it to a conspiracy theory that if you admit there's something wrong with it, or admit it needs reform, then you're admitting that there was some blame that could have been cast on Congress and Fannie and Freddie in the whole financial crisis, and you certainly wouldn't want to do that if you were Congress.
Well, I think it is an admission. It's an admission that they failed. It's an admission that they resisted our legislation. Now, I will say Chairman Frank has admitted that he was wrong. He's admitted that when he said that they were sound and other Democrats said we were crying wolf, that we were in fact right. It is simply a case of they've swept it under the rug. They did that on Christmas Eve when they made the guarantee unlimited. You know, the old Paulson bazooka that he said give him a bazooka but he'd never fire it. Well, you know, he was a pretty trigger-happy Harry. You know, he fired it within just about 2 weeks, and that was, and once you get a government agency, you subsidize it. Go back to Ronald Reagan. He said if it moves, they'll tax it. If it continues to move, they'll regulate it. If it quits moving, they'll subsidize it. That's where we are in the housing market.
Yeah, we can't go back to him. Jim Carrey, I saw, resurrected him briefly in that.
Congressman Bachus, when we spoke with Ken Jaworski earlier, he said that he's leaning towards the idea of creating a lot of mini Freddie Macs and Fannie Mae's. That he would be of the opinion if you have a lot of little ones that are competing, and then if something goes wrong, you don't have to keep these guys afloat. If they can't keep up with the Joneses, then we just wash them out. Do you think that would be effective?
Well, you know, it would keep one of them. It's a monopoly right now, or a duopoly, and it would address that problem. What it wouldn't do, it wouldn't get the government out of the financing market. You just put 5 or 6 government entities to compete with the private market. And as I said, just as with health care, the government will continue to subsidize the public market. They'll tax or regulate the private market, And we'll go down the same road that we started with Medicaid and Medicare years ago, where you have price fixing, and that's essentially what they'll do. They'll control the market and they'll subsidize it. And, you know, that is really, a lot of people don't realize that what we should have done with health care reform is we should have reformed or gone away from a broken model, and that was the price fixing in health care, where you get the same fee for the same service no matter where you are or who you are.
Yeah. All right.
And people's money is not at risk. You know, there's a difference in playing with the government's money and playing with your own money. Mm-hmm. You need to hold people accountable. You need to allow people to innovate. You need competition creates innovation. It creates efficiencies, and we don't have that in health care. We're going down a road of basically no competition, and that's where we've reached with Fannie and Freddie.
All right. All right, Congressman, we appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you later.